Big up yourselves each and every time for coming through and supporting the channel as always. Big up to all the mods and big up to all the newcomers as well. Guys, keep your questions, keep your comments coming through. And as always, make sure you sub to the channel if you're new in here. And again, smash the like button, guys. Let's try and hit at least 30 likes today as a minimum target. Obviously, over the last couple of days, you know, the engagement and the views have been very good. So as I said, let's just keep it going. And as I said, I'll always get back to your questions once I've finished discussing what I'm going to discuss. But yeah, as I said, big up yourselves and appreciate you guys coming through. Big up to Lumi Rain. Big up Lumi each and every time. So Lumi says, Lavia injured as well now, Gav. Okay, so Lavia's got an injury. Is Lavia actually injured again? Because if he is, I don't know what to make of it. I think Chelsea might have to start thinking about moving him on, funny enough, because on his day when he's fit, you know, he's one of the best midfielders in the league. But if he can't stay fit, then it's concerning, man, you know. But Lumi, let me know, is that confirmed that Lavia is definitely injured for the season? Let me know. Big up to Arsenal and Pakistan cricket team says, many chances of Wissa also not joining Newcastle. Gav, rate Newcastle's transfer window. I will do. I'm going to get on to Yoann Wissa and Samu Omorodion in a minute. But big up. So Lumi says, Gav, when you played at a good level, did you have goal bonuses? No, not when I was in the academy. Those things weren't really about. But we had like expenses and stuff like that. But it wasn't no kind of goal bonuses in the academy. Definitely not. Big up though. Big up to Sham each and every time as well. Big up to Danny McInnough. Danny back on. Yeah, big up Danny. Big up to SAFC Tom as well. I always say SAP. Is it SAP Tom? But I'm going to start saying SAFC Tom. So yeah, big up SAFC Tom. Big up to, let me see who else was in there that I see. I thought I see someone else's name in there. Okay. Danny says, is Robbo leaving? What, Andy Robertson? I've not heard nothing. Just seen something on Empire of the Cop that his exit is being agreed, but nothing elsewhere on the transfer away. I think personally, man, when you've got Kirkes there now and you got ISAK'S as well, I think Robertson really, I don't think he's that much required. I mean, his leadership in terms of him being a captain for Scotland, you know, might be something that they might be looking at. But I would say that because you've got Kirkes, who'll be expecting to be starting, and obviously you've got ISAK'S, who's been there for a few years as well now. I think, yeah, if they can get rid of Robertson, get his wages off, I think that's not bad for them, personally, you know. So, but guys, listen up. So as I said, there's been some news that I've seen today, you know, on, if anyone doesn't know, Samu Omorodion, you know, Spanish international, formerly of Atletico Madrid. You know, I think he was on loan at Alaves as well. I think when Alaves were in the Segunda division, I believe. Obviously now of FC Porto, you know, and to be honest with you, you know, I think this is a sign that Newcastle, I think they make. You know, I'm not sure how much he's going to cost. You know, I think he might cost probably upwards of 60 mil, I would say. But I think if Newcastle can get him and Wissa over the line, then I think that's great business, man, to be honest with you. And I think this might be the two signings in Omorodion and Yoann Wissa that might allow Alexander Isak to then move on. You know, I think if Newcastle can get 150 mil for Isak and then get Omorodion and Yoann Wissa through the door, I think you'd have to say that's probably not a bad window for them, because I'm not saying both players are going to replicate what Isak has done in terms of numbers, but you've got Yoann Wissa, who's actually shown for with all due respect, a weaker team in Brentford. He's actually shown that he can score goals in this league. And then you've got Omorodion, again, who's a physical threat, you know, can play as a target man. I think if you can get those two players in, you know, two players of African descent as well, if you can get both of them in, and get the money in for Isak, and then probably strengthen elsewhere on the pitch. Um, I think that's good business, man. You know, I'll go as far and say that that's probably the best that they can do. You know, and again, I'm not rating Omorodion in the sense that I think he's better than Isak, but that would help to cushion the blow, I would say. You know. So, but yeah, let me know what you think. Big up to Maria Nafiz as well. Says United going for Donnarumma. Yeah, I'm not taking that too seriously. I think the Donnarumma news, again, I'd love Donnarumma at Man United, but it's not going to happen. I think he's just holding out for a bigger contract. And again, he's got a year left on his contract at PSG anyway. And he'll have his pick of teams if he does run his contract down. And then obviously he can get a massive sign-on fee as well. So, you know, I'd love him at Man United, but can I see it happening realistically? I can't, because, again, he's more likely to go and play for a team in the Champions League, which Man United ain't. But if Man United could somehow pull it off, then do you know what? I think we'll have to say, look, United are doing some serious business, you know. But big up Maria anyway. Big up for coming through. Lumi says, why do PSG want to sell Donnarumma? Because for me personally, it's because if you look at Luis Enrique, the way he likes to play with his teams, you know, I think he wants a ball-playing goalkeeper. And they've obviously brought in from Lille, Lucas Chevalier now. And Chevalier is left-footed, ball-playing goalkeeper. And I think it's a case where, because Donnarumma's on the high money, and it's one of them things where he's not the ideal profile for Luis Enrique, I think Enrique will be fine at moving him on and getting in someone that more suits his philosophy, I would say. You know, I mean, Donnarumma for me, in terms of the best keepers in the world, is definitely in the top three. But as a ball-playing goalkeeper, he isn't that. So that's probably something that Enrique's probably looking at. And as I said, I think it might be something that he might be happy with letting go of Donnarumma. But I can't see him going to Man United, with Man United not being in the Champions League. And as I said, if they was to pull that off, yeah, Ineos will have to be given their credit once more, you know. Big up to Nick Fadley as well. Big up Nick for coming back through. Sham says it's his final year, so he can go for around 25 mil, which again is cheap for Donnarumma. But if you look at Liverpool have got Alisson and Georgie Mamadashvili as the two keepers, so he's not going there. City have just bought back, what's his name? Forgot his name now. The guy from, James Trafford from Burnley. And they've got Edison there still as well. You look at Chelsea. I think Chelsea's the one club that you would probably say you could see Donnarumma at. But then they've got high hopes for a keeper that they've actually signed from Genk, I believe it was, Mike Penders, who's now on loan at Strasbourg. And again, they're earmarking Penders as the next Thibaut Courtois. So if you do bring in a Donnarumma, who's only 26, that might block Penders' path. So I think that's something that they'll be thinking about, and probably the reason why they won't go for Donnarumma, even though Donnarumma's a massive upgrade on what's his name, Robert Sanchez. So, but then I look at who else in the league. I think those three teams in particular. I mean, Newcastle. I mean, I think Newcastle just bought Aaron Ramsdale. They got Nick Pope. But I'll be honest with you, if Newcastle was to show some sort of intent in the transfer window, them going to get a Donnarumma, you know, would be, for me, would be a great signing, you know. But I haven't heard any links for them in Donnarumma. Then you look at in Spain, you know, Barca just signed Juan Garcia. Again, Marc-Andre ter Stegen. They're looking at probably moving on with the wages on as well. Chesney's obviously back up as well. Real Madrid obviously got Courtois. Bayern Munich have got Manuel Neuer, I think, still there. And then they got Urbig as well, who they've signed, Jonas Urbig, who they rate highly. So again, the actual teams that he can actually go to are not, there isn't too much really, let's be honest. But I think it's one of them things now where it's looking likely every day that he is going to leave. But I think personally, he's just holding out to the end of his contract, I believe, to get a bigger sign-on fee. Who knows? Big up to Robert Beck, says Glasgow Rangers are looking good. Are Rangers actually playing today? I don't think they're playing today, are they? I know they won their did they win their game, their first game of the season? Or was that Celtic? So that was Celtic under Brendan Rodgers. Big up to Mr. Recap says, what do you think of Liverpool 2025-6 squad? I think you mentioned that earlier today, Mr. Recaps. So yeah, I think you put that in the chat earlier. Big up, man. Sham says, should Chelsea should go for him. Yeah, but just based on what I've said, if Donnarumma was like, let's say 32, 33, then he'll be an ideal player to go for Chelsea. But I just got a feeling that that's going to block Penders' development if they do eventually bring him back. I think the only thing I can see Chelsea doing, and it might be a similar thing with what they done with Petr Cech and Thibaut Courtois. So when Cech was there, Courtois actually went on loan to Atletico Madrid for 2 seasons. And then when they eventually moved Cech on, Courtois came in. So again, that could be something that Chelsea might look at with Penders. The only problem is if you're bringing in Donnarumma's only 26 still. So again, it's something that is unlikely. But I mean, if I'm Chelsea right now, I just go in for Donnarumma, if I'm honest. You know, but again, they might have their own reasons for not doing that. You know. Big up to Craven Cottage, Fulham fan. Big up for coming through. Says, where do you see Fulham finishing? Do you know what? I see Fulham mid-table. You know, I think the top 8 is going to be difficult. And do I see Fulham in the top 8? It's difficult. It's difficult because there's a lot of teams that are going to fancy themselves to be in the top 6, the top 8. So I think if Fulham get top 10, you know, I think they look at that as a good season. You know, and I think I'm going to say top 10 because on mid-table, because I think that top 8 this season is going to be very competitive. So, yeah, I'm going to say mid-table, which will be a good season for me. But big up. Bastamat says, hi, you're dropping facts. Newcastle doesn't have the pedigree yet. So this window is a challenge. Yeah, as I said, man, it is a challenge for them. I think if we're being serious for what's happened to them this season in terms of the transfers, you know, missing out on Delap, João Pedro, Embuemo, Ekatike, and now Sesko, the best thing for them would be to keep Isak. Because I think that would be more of a statement in a sense where they're saying to Liverpool that they can't be bullied into selling their players. Not to mention as well, they're letting their striker know that he can't just kick up a fuss and think he's going to leave. But I think if they was to get Samu Omorodion from Porto and get Yoann Wissa over the line, I think that will cushion the blow if they was to let Isak go and get money in for him. In actual fact, I think that might be the best deal that they could actually do, if I'm being honest. I actually think it might be the best deal that they can actually do. So whether they revisit that, I don't know. But there's been links today to Omorodion. I think Omorodion might cost about just over 60 million probably. I think Wissa might be about 40 mil. You know, they're trying to get Dango Utara now as well from Bournemouth to replace Brian Embuemo, which again, I can see why they're doing, you know, left-footed player, and they're going to try and hope that he can replicate Brian Embuemo. That might open the door for Wissa, who knows. But I think, yeah, Omorodion and Wissa would be actually a very good combination for Newcastle. And if they get the money of 150 mil for Isak as well. So I think that's one to watch. But I can see them happen. I can see that happening, definitely. Guys, come on, we got 10 likes. Let's try and hit 30 as a minimum. Make sure you smash the like button, guys, and make sure you sub to the channel as well. I'm only 4 short of 1,350. So again, if you haven't subbed to the channel, make sure you do. And as always, guys, keep your questions coming in and your comments. Lumi Rain says, Gav, what's the best stadium you played at? That's difficult. 'Cause, I mean, I've played at Stamford Bridge about 9 or 10 times. I've played at Upton Park. I've played at the old Highbury ground, Arsenal's. Carrow Road, which is Norwich. Portman Road, Ipswich's. Charlton's ground, the Valley. White Hart Lane I've played at. Who else? I've played at Goodison Park as well. I've played at Marseille's ground, which is the Stade Velodrome. But I'm probably going to say Ajax's ground, which is the Amsterdam Arena. I think that's probably the best ground I've played at. Yeah, that's a ridiculous stadium, man. So, yeah, I'd probably say Amsterdam Arena is the best stadium I've probably played at. Yeah, 100%. SAFC Tom says United need a keeper. Anana's not Premier League quality. I disagree. He is Premier League quality, but I agree he has been poor this season, or last season, should I say? As I mentioned earlier, I don't think Anana is as much of an issue as what many people think. I don't think he's been great, but I'm looking at other players that are still at the squad, that are still in the club, that need to be moved on before Onana, in my opinion. When you got the likes of Luke Shaw, that's been there for almost a decade, he's on 190 a week, and he's still at the club. I'm not really going to entertain getting rid of Onana more than someone like Luke Shaw. Not to mention you've got Mason Mount, who's on 250, wears the number 7 shirt as well, and costs 60 mil. He's still at the club. Rasmus Højlund and Garnacho, again, get rid of them. So when them guys are still there, I think I'm not really going to be too critical of Onana in that sense, even though I do think there are better keepers out there, and he has been poor. But yeah, I'm going to remain cautious. I'm going to see this season, because I don't believe United get another keeper of the level of Donnarumma to displace Onana. I think if they do bring a keeper in, he's going to be more of a number 2 to replace Bayinde. So let's just see what happens, man. But yeah, I think Onana hasn't been great, but I think he's going to be in between the sticks, definitely, this season. But big up, man. Craven Cottage says, do you think Anthony Robertson is top 5 left-backs in the Premier League currently? Yeah, do you know what? I'll go along with that. I'll say, if we're looking at that, obviously, left-backs that play in a 4-4-2, we look at, Joshko Gvardiol has to be up there, but Gvardiol for me is probably more of a centre-back. But you got Joshko Gvardiol if he plays left-back. You've got Ryan Ait-Nouri at Man City. Then you look at Liverpool. Kirkes now has to be rated up there. I think Robertson was one of the best left-backs, but he's dropped off a little bit. Chelsea, definitely Mark Cucurella. And Cucurella can be argued, really, as being probably the best left-back in the league. Who else is there? Patrick Dorgu for me is new, and obviously he's playing as a wing-back, so we've not really seen him as a left-back. I like Lewis Hall, ex-Chelsea at Newcastle, but he's been injured. Lewis Skelly. Again, Lewis Skelly's not even the left-back, but had a good season for Arsenal. But yeah, no, I'd say Robinson's probably up there. I'd say he's up there. And again, he's someone for me that's very underrated. I think he could go and play for, one of the top 6, top 8 teams easily and hold his own. So, yeah, maybe Robertson is in there. I think we'll have to say. So Craven Cotty says top 8 would be the dream, but I think 10th or 11th for us. Yeah, listen, if you guys get 10th or 11th, as I said, it's going to be a tough league this season. If you think of the top 2 in Liverpool, Man City, that's a top 2 done. Then you've got Chelsea, you've got Newcastle, you've got Arsenal. Hopefully Man United are up there as well. Then you've got the likes of Aston Villa, Tottenham, possibly Brighton as well. I feel like I'm missing someone. There's probably a few other clubs. So yeah, that top 10, top 8 is not going to be easy. So if Fulham manage to get top 10, it's a good season. So yeah, that's what I would say. Big up to Ekaterina Najeri says, sorry, just joined. Who do you support? So I'm a Man United supporter, and my team also is Barcelona, but we discuss whatever team you want on here, So big up to Dominic from Germany says, what do you think about the Bundesliga this season? Do you know what? The Bundesliga have lost a lot of players. I think people are sleeping on this. You think of Eintracht Frankfurt, they've lost recent times Omar Mamouche, now Ekatike to the Premier League. You think of Florian Wirtz and Jeremy Frimpong and Granit Xhaka going to the Premier League. Who else is there? Bino Gittins, obviously going to the Premier League as well from Dortmund. So yeah, the Bundesliga has lost a lot of players. You got Jamal Musiala now, who's probably one of the star boys of Germany or German football. He's out for a little while. So yeah, I think the German league, in terms of quality, is missing a lot of players. I expect Bayern Munich really to win the league. I don't see Bayer Leverkusen under Erik ten Hag doing anything, if I'm honest. Dortmund, not too sure. So I expect Bayern to win the league this season. But yeah, I just think it's going to be another season really where Bayern will be the team to beat. And I don't believe Bayer Leverkusen, they've had a major overhaul. Jonathan Tah's left Bayer Leverkusen, Granit Xhaka, Jeremy Frimpong, Florian Wirtz. You're looking at 4 players there that were key to their team. So they've all moved on. I see today actually, I think Bournemouth are looking at Amin Adli as well from Bayer Leverkusen. And again, if you guys have been watching my stream for any time, he was the player that I was telling you guys about in the 3-4-3 system that Xabi Alonso used to play with at Bayer Leverkusen. Adli was the left-footed player that played on the right-hand side, which is why I was saying about Arda Güler getting more game time, or even Franco Mastantuano, who they just signed. So, but yeah, as I said, man, I think Bundesliga this season, I think Bayern will be the team to beat, So SAFC Tom says Isak is as good as gone. I don't think he is, to be honest, because as I said, Newcastle hold all the cards. He's got 3 years left on his contract. They want 150 mil, and they're in charge. That's what it is. Unless Liverpool come out with that bid, unless they get proper replacements in, I don't think it's easy to say that Isak is as good as gone, because Newcastle are in charge. Because Isak can get frustrated, he can get angry all he wants. It'll be down to Newcastle to say to them, we're letting him go. So, as I said, Newcastle are in charge here, not Isak, because he's got 3 years left on his contract. Again, if he had a year left on his contract, I think a deal would have already been done. But they're not in no rush to sell, and they've got money. So these things need to be looked at, Big up to the Royalty Master. Yeah, big up, bro, for coming back on. I'm all good, man. I'm all good. Obviously, second stream of today. Big up yourself for coming back through as well. And as I said, when you come through, smash the like button and make sure you interact with the chat as well. Big up, man. So Lumi Rain says, what's it like playing on elite grass? Just nothing really. You know what I mean? I think the only difference is obviously when you got a stadium, that is a lot more packed in comparison to what you used to play on. There's a buzz there. But for me, football's football. It doesn't matter where I'm playing. I'm still gonna perform the same way regardless. So, but yeah, big up, Lumi. So the Royal Master says Newcastle have had a bad window, and I know United has had some bad windows before, but this one for Newcastle was really bad. But at least they could sign Wissa, as well as because he's a talented player. But as I said, if they get Wissa and they get Samu Omorodion, I do believe that's going to cushion the blow for Newcastle fans. I mean, again, they don't want to lose Isak. Some of them might be happy with him moving on. But if you can get both of them in, and get the money for Isak, and then they reinvest that money for Isak in probably another winger or something like that, all of a sudden, it isn't that bad. That's what I would say. But Lumi says, Onana is a top keeper, but struggles for consistency with concentration. Yeah, listen, again, Onana's going to have his detractors, really, and again, rightfully so, because the season he just come back off wasn't good enough, but I don't believe he's as bad as what a lot of people, make him out to be. I think if he's in front of us, of a solid team, and a team's building in the right way, you might get a more confident, a more solid Andre Onana. But I think it's too easy for people to just say, get rid of Onana, when there's other players that need to go before him. I don't like the fact that, everyone's saying Onana is the number one player that needs to go. The number one player that needs to go is Rasmus Højlund and Alejandro Garnacho. Put them together and get rid of them. So, yeah. Dominic says Cucurella robbed Germany in the European Cup. That crazy goalkeeping. Yeah, listen, Cucurella is very underrated, man. I rate him highly. You know, I think the funny thing with Cucurella is that a lot of fans, and I'm gonna talk about English fans, British fans. The reason why he's underrated or underappreciated is because of his hair. Like because Cucurella isn't your traditional left back in terms of, you know, short hair or bald head left back, and and he hasn't got the physicality. I think he's often overlooked because people concentrate on his hair and think, how can a left back be that good with hair like that? I'm telling you, I've heard people talk about Cucurella, and the first thing they talk about is his hair, and it's because he is someone that isn't relatable because of his hair. Because people would often look at him or look at other left backs that have gone before him, and he's not really your conventional left back. As I said, he's got the long hair, he's got the he hasn't got the physicality, so people often think he's an easy target. But he's one of the best left backs in the league. He's one of the best left backs in the world. He is. You know, he's very good defensively, and he's got a lot of quality. So again, people just overlook him, but he's very good. Lumi says Matson is good. Yeah, I like Ian Matson, to be fair, ex Chelsea as well. So again, the amount of players that Chelsea have coming through their ranks is just scary. But I do like Matson, obviously at Aston Villa now, but I think he's a very good player. And again, Matson's actually a midfielder, but obviously he does play as a left back now. But I do rate him. Big up to M Changwa. I'm trying to think what flag that is. Can't see what flag that is. Is that? Nah, it's not not Botswana. Yeah, big up, man. Big up to David Vickers, says, watch a proper sport rugby. Yeah, good one. I used to watch rugby back in the day, actually. I used to watch Wigan Warriors, St. Helens, Warrington. I used to watch it, man. But yeah, I've lost interest in rugby, to be honest with you. Yeah, big up, Sham, man. You know. Guys, if you haven't tried it before, red wine and Coke. That's me on a Friday. Trust me. Red wine and Coke slaps, I'm telling you. Don't knock it until you try it. Big up, Sham. I'm glad you noticed. So Lumi says, how's your snooker and darts? To be fair, I'm better at pool. I'm better at pool than snooker. Darts, I'm okay at darts. I wouldn't say I'm great. You know, I'm no Luke Little, I'll put it that way. But yeah, no, I do like pool. I do like playing pool. But I play snooker, but pool for me is better. So SAFC Tom says, is the Prem the best in your opinion? Good question. To be honest with you, the Prem isn't the best in my opinion. I think, again, this goes over people's heads as well. I think when people talk about the Premiership and they say the Premier League's the best league in the world, people have to really think about when they're saying it's the best in the world. If we're looking at the most technically gifted league, it's the Spanish league. The Spanish league is the most technically gifted. If we're looking at tactical, you're looking at the Italian league is the most tactical league. And then if you're looking at the physicality and you're looking at for entertainment, excitement, it's the Premier League and probably Liga. I think Liga's, the physicality in Liga is underrated as well. But in terms of the English, the Premier League being the best in the world, or being the best, it isn't the best. It's the best in terms of excitement and entertainment, you know. But in terms of quality, it's nowhere near the Spanish league in terms of quality. You know, that's the truth. Big up to Joshua, says, bro, you have Adama Traore muscles. Yeah, big up, man. Big up. Just good work in the gym, man. Yeah, big up, man. Big up. I mean, Adama Traore, to be fair, is a unit, man. And he's in ridiculous shape. So, but yeah, no, big up, man. Dominic FR says, the Bundesliga will be boring, like always. Bayern would win it. No chance. Now I support a German second division club who just got promoted into the second division. Oh, Dynamo Dresden. Yeah, I've heard of him. Fell off this season. Yeah, listen, I think Bayern are going to win the league, man. I think that league is monopolised to get the best from Bayern Munich, let's be honest. Because when you've got the best players from the other teams or their nearest competitors, like Bayer Leverkusen or Borussia Dortmund and they go to Bayern Munich, again, you just know what that league's about. So, yeah. Lumi says, it's too early to say someone's had a bad window. Anything can happen in 3 weeks. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. As long as the window's still open, there can be deals done at any time, Joshua says 70 mil on Sesko. Why? Yeah, Joshua, man, I have to agree. Although I do think 70 mil is a lot for a guy that scored 13 league goals in the Bundesliga. What I'd have to say, if Rasmus Højlund gets out the door, I'm a bit more content with the Sesko signing, to be honest, So as long as that happens, the Sesko signing for me looks good. But yeah, as long as Rasmus is still there and Sesko's been signed, yeah, I'm not too happy, I have to be honest, But who knows? We'll have to wait and see what happens, Sham says, Gav, you mentioned the situation with Isak, but Baleba also has 3 years left on his contract. So why don't you go in at 100 million? Why wait for Baleba to ask Brighton to lower the transfer fee? Yeah, big up, Sham. What I would say, and I'm going to say this now, Man United are going to sign Baleba. They're going to sign him because, as we know with Brighton are a selling club, and the rumours are that Baleba wants to go to Man United. So if Brighton are saying 100 million, you have to go and buy the player. There's no we can't spend that money, etc. You go and buy that player because this is a guy, for me, that is going to be one of the best midfielders in the world. I've mentioned plenty of times, left-footed central midfielders are a rarity in the game. The best 2 right now that I can think of that are at an elite level is Camavinga and Fabian Ruiz. Baleba, for me, is the next one. And he's only 21 as well. So I believe he's the same age as Camavinga, I believe. So he is someone that if Brighton want 100 mil, you just structure it. All you got to do is structure a deal that, even if you're going to say, look, over 5 years, we'll give you 20 million. I think that can happen. And I think Brighton would accept that because Brighton are a selling club. That is their model on on how they do things. So for me, yeah, it's a bit different to Isak because you're looking at Isak as probably the best striker in the world, best striker in the league, and it's one of them things where Newcastle have money, so Newcastle don't have to sell. So as I said, I think it's a bit different with Isak and Baleba because Isak has come out and said he wants to go, which means that because he's got 3 years left on his contract, Newcastle don't have to sell him. Whereas, let's be honest with you, Baleba's at a team that is not a team that's a Champions League team, or one of the best teams in the league. So it's a bit different. So, and again, Newcastle would want more money than what Man United would pay for Baleba. So, as I said, if Brighton want 100 mil, then all United got to do is structure a deal to get it done. As I said, he should be the number 1 target for Man United. Man United have to sign him. The fact that United have finally made their interest known, they have to go and get him. There's no excuses because I'll tell you this now. If United fumble this and don't get him, he's going to end up at either Barca, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool. He'll end up at one of them clubs, PSG. I promise you. So they have to just go and get him now, and I believe they will. Big up, though. Gav, you look like you can hold off players, but super quick at the same time. Yeah, big up Lumi, man. Yeah, Lumi, to be honest with you, the kind of style of player that I was, I was more like, I'm more of a technician. I was more someone, again, I was a striker. I played like as a striker or played like as a number 10. So the thing with me, physicality wasn't something that I was really known by in a sense. I'm left-footed as well. So I'm left-footed, and it was one of them things where I relied on my technique rather than my physicality. As I've got older, and again, it's more of a thing where, my passion is in the gym. So that's why, I've kind of worked on my physicality, really, because I just enjoy going to the gym. So obviously, when I play five-a-side now, my main thing is my technique, but I can always fall back onto my physical attributes of what I've built up over the years. I never used to be like you guys might think I'm quite big now, but I never used to be that big. I used to be, quite frail when I was younger. But for me now, as I said, it's more about me just hitting the gym, working on the physique. And as I said, yeah, when I play five-a-side, with me, it's all about knowing how to protect the ball. The way that I hold off players playing five-a-side, it's not really rocket science. If you got the ball one side and you're in the middle, you have to use your arm to hold them off. And that's what I rely on. Obviously you've got to have some sort of strength about you. But as I said, yeah, I wasn't always into my physicality really. I relied on my technique. But yeah, as you get older, you obviously hit the gym a lot more, and yeah, obviously the benefits are paying off really. So that's what it is. But yeah, no, I used to be very quick when I was younger, very, very quick. I used to be one of the fastest players in the whole of my borough. But as I got older, the pace ain't there as it was. So yeah, man. But again, when you're coming through the system in the academy, very stereotypically, what these coaches used to do, they would think, okay, look, he's and again, like people might think I'm lying, but these things are a fact. They looked at me as a black guy, and immediately thought, right, he's quick, he's left-footed, we're going to play him out in the wing so he can use his pace. And that was the stereotypical thing that a lot of these coaches done back then. But again, my game was very much on the technical side, So big up to Barbara Joseph as well. Big up for coming on, Barbara. Big up to Chris and Mark each and every time. So Lumi says, thinking about it, could Jesus be an idea for Newcastle? I'd have to say no. I can't see Newcastle looking at Gabriel Jesus. And again, how much is he going to cost? I think the targets for Newcastle for that striker position is definitely Yoann Wissa. And obviously, I'm hearing Omorodion. And I think possibly Nicholas Jackson as well. I think between those three players, I think Newcastle get two out of the three for me. I think they get 2 out of the 3. And I think they can be happy with that. Big up to Vinny. Yeah, big up Vinny, man. So Barbara says, red wine and Coke. Listen, don't knock it until you try it. I'm telling you, this drink slaps. Red wine and Coke. I'm telling you. Like, when I first heard, when I first heard red wine and Coke, I was the same thing. I was like, no, I can't try that. And I'm telling you now, this drink slaps. So, yeah, on a Friday, yeah, red wine and Coke, man. As you can see, I've almost finished it as well. So if you like Malbec, get a bottle of Malbec, red Malbec, and just get some Coke. I usually have Coke, Pepsi Cherry with it. So, yeah, try it, man. It's nice. Chris and Mark says, chew an apple before consuming red wine, bro. It's a pro tip. Chew an apple before consuming red wine. I've never tried that. Never tried that, nah. Chew an apple before consuming red wine. Never heard that one. A pro tip. Nah, I can't do that. Red Pepsi, I need to try that. Yeah, so Pepsi Cherry. Yeah, give it a try, man. It's nice. As it turns any regular £2 tablet wine into a £50 bottle. So chew an apple before having red wine. I don't know. Should I give that a try? I don't even know. I don't know. I might give that a try. I'll see. I've had no alcohol since 2017. Chris and Mark, man, big up yourself because again, this is a I'll be honest with you. I think alcohol personally is a culture problem. It's a culture problem. I don't drink alcohol all the time. I have a drink of alcohol. If I'm chilling. But I can easily go without alcohol for a few months if I needed to. But I like to just, if I'm relaxing, watching a film or just chilling out, I might have a drink. But yeah, it's a culture thing with the drink, really, with this country. So yeah, it is what it is, man. So Lumi says there's no point getting Cunha, Embuemo, and Sesko if you don't back them up with Baleba. Yeah, listen, I 100% agree. 100% agree. Like as I said, Lumi, yeah, I'm not worried. I think the club get the deal done. I think Jason Wilcox and Ineos, he's one of the players they've identified, and again, I'm just surprised that he wasn't spoken about earlier, but there's been reports that that was done on purpose. But again, if they just get him over the line, I'm happy, man. I'm happy. That's what I will say. So, and I believe it happens as well. So, big up to X. Is it X Zinc says, "Yo, how are you, man? Yeah, all good, man. All good, all good. Big up yourself for coming through. Right, guys, come on. We've only got 14 likes. Let's at least get 20. Come on. There's 8 of you in there watching at the moment. Smash the like button and sub to the channel. Yeah, Lumi says everyone checking on Gamer. Listen, he might be a bit happier, Lumi. To be fair, now with the news of Omorodion, and obviously Wissa as well. So he might be in better spirits, man. But yeah, make sure you guys check up on him. I know he got back to me earlier, to be fair, on one of my comments, so he ain't too bad. Oh shit. Tulip Plays says Isak is a gunman. Yeah, listen, Isak's a very good player, man. He is. I think if we're looking at strikers in today's era, he is definitely one of the better ones. But again, I'm from an era where I've seen some real strikers. Gabriel Batistuta, R9, Ibrahimovic, Adriano. Obviously Lewandowski, Benzema, Suarez, Aguero. Um, it's probably more strikers I've forgotten about. Drogba, Etu. There's some Robbie Fowler. I mean, Robbie Fowler was serious. I mean, Isak for me can't hold a candle to any of them players I've mentioned. But to be fair, he's very good. Tulip says his name is Agahawa now, Samu. Yeah, I know that. His name's Samu Agahawa Omorodion. So Samu Omorodion. That's his name, man. That's his name, Samu Omorodion. Yeah, big up Gamer, man. Gamers well, guys. Gamers all right. Big up. Big up to John, says, I'm trying to stop, brother. It's so hard. John, the best way to stop, man, is to get yourself a focus. If you enjoy going to the gym or, get yourself a focus. And when you've got a goal to achieve or a mission to achieve, listen, you'll find yourself not having to go to the drink, man. So yeah, I would say get yourself a focus. Yeah, big up to Ashutosh Singh, says no culture promotes alcohol. It's a societal problem. Yeah, listen, I would agree with that. I would agree. I think what it is as well, when you look at alcohol for an instance, it's like when people finish, a hard day's work, what's the first thing they do? They go home and try to reward themselves with having a drink. But again, that is a societal problem. You have a hard day's work and then you want to go home, have a glass of wine, have a drink, or even on the weekend, you want to enjoy yourself and have a drink. But these things, as I said, are culture and it is societal for me, So yeah, is what it is, man. It's never gonna stop really, But yeah, only you can decide how often you do these things. Loomis says, if you get Baleba and sell Garnacho, Sancho, and Hoyland, is this an 8 out of 10 window? Yeah, big up Lumi. I mean, to be honest with you, Lumi, I don't want to sell Sancho. I'm gonna remain consistent in what I'm saying. Sancho for me is a different problem. Sancho's only going really because of the wage and probably for a bit of the comments that he said. Even though I don't have a problem with the comments he said about when Rashford went on loan to Villa, when he said about freedom. I don't really care about that. But I think the fact that he's on a high wage which is why they won't be fussed about moving him out the door, because in terms of quality, you know, he's one of United's best players on quality. He is, but again, it's one of them things where his wage is high. Højlund and Garnacho, just get them out. So if Baleba comes in and you get rid of Garnacho and Højlund, I would say this window. Yeah, you know what? I'd make you right. I'd say it's an 8 out of 10 window. If Højlund and Garnacho go, and Baleba comes in with Sesko, Mbeumo and Cunha. I think I'd like one more signing, another midfielder probably to go with Baleba. And then obviously if you can get, if Anthony does go, you get his wages off. Then yeah, I'd think again, if Bruno was to go, if Bruno went out this window and they reinvested the money into Baleba already, you know, I'd go as far as saying it's already an 8 out of 10 window with Bruno going. But with Bruno still there, you know, put it this way, if Baleba comes in, Bruno still being there, and Sesko coming in for me won't be as bad, you know. But Baleba's the key man. You have to get him in. So we'll have to wait and see, man. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. How many points will Man United, Man City, Liverpool and Arsenal have after the first of 4 to 5 games? I mean, to be fair, I don't really know Man City, Liverpool and Arsenal's fixtures. But for me, Man United's first 4 to 5 games, I'm going to say I think United might get 5 points. I think maybe 6, 5 or 6 points. I think, and they'll be in the form of a draw against Arsenal, a draw against Fulham away, beating Burnley, and then possibly a loss against City or Chelsea, maybe both. So I think 5 points, which again won't be good enough. I think Amorim needs to at least get 2, 3 wins, I would say, in the first 5 games. I think Fulham and Burnley, out of them 2 games, I'm expecting a minimum 4 points, minimum. If he gets anything less than 4 points against those 2 teams, he's in trouble. Because after them games, you've got City and Chelsea, where you're going to be relying on wins, depending on what happens against Arsenal. So, yeah. So Lumi says, you have 3 wingers on high wages. You don't even play wingers. Need to move them on ASAP. Yeah, I agree. But Sancho is a number 10 playing out wide. So Sancho would suit this system. He would 100% suit this system. But the problem is that because he's on, 250, the club obviously will be looking at his wages as well. So whereas Anthony's a winger, he's on 200 grand a week. You know, the club will be looking at moving him on. Rashford, as we know, is already on loan as well. He was on 350, I think, 300, something like that. So yeah, as I said, for me, yeah, get rid of Rasmus, get rid of Garnacho. As I said, I'd like Sancho to stay, but if you can get his wages off, then it's more money for the club. Who else is there? The likes of Mount, Shaw, obviously Bruno, Ugarte, them things will be revisited next season, you know. So I'm not really going to talk about that. But yeah, as I said, I think if they can get rid of some players, those players I just mentioned, it'll be a good start. And I believe it happens as well. Right, guys, we're going to go for another 10 minutes. Obviously, I was live earlier today, so I'm going to give you guys another 10 minutes. So if you've got any questions to ask or any comments to make, then let's go through that. Chelsea beaten by Leverkusen 2-0. I think William Esteval scored as well. Nicholas Jackson is telling Chelsea that he wants to consider his options, which again is obvious. Big up to Crawley Eagle as well. Says, Gav, big up Gav, who's finishing 20th? So who's going to finish bottom? I don't really know, you know. I think you'd have to say one of the promoted teams, you know. I'm gonna say, I don't know, you know, because it could be surprising. I think 20th is gonna be difficult, but I think you can't go against the promoted teams. So I think the promoted teams, I think one of them might be finishing bottom. So I'm gonna say between Leeds and Burnley. I'm gonna say, but again, it could be anyone. Who knows? Could be anyone. Um, yeah. Crawley Eagle. Who do you think's finishing bottom? Ashutosh Singh says you should be a mental coach, bro. You talk a bit maturely. What, talking maturely, is that a problem? I don't even know. I'm just talking about football, man. Just general football talk, you know. Um, but big up, man. I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not. It's a bit of a difficult one, but um, Chris and Mark says they're just ticking over. I think Chelsea going to either win the Prem or finish second. Yeah, do you know what? I don't know if Chelsea gets second. To be honest with you, or first. I think top two. I think Man City and Liverpool are gonna take some. They're gonna take some stopping, in my opinion. But um, so Crawley Eagle says I can see Everton finishing bottom. Yeah, I don't think Everton moving to a new stadium. I can't see them finishing bottom, man. If that was to happen, there'll be a meltdown in that fan base, you know. And I think Everton are trying to make some serious moves as well. So I don't think they'll finish second, bottom for me. I think I think they'll be all right, man. I'm not sure if they get top half, but definitely they won't be bottom. You know, not with moving into a new stadium. You know, guys, come on, we got 17 likes. Let's at least try and get 20 today or tonight, should I say? Um, let's at least try and get 20. Come on. And keep the questions coming in as well. We're gonna go for another 10 minutes and then we're gonna wrap up. So Lorda Gorn says, brother got a chapter tatted on a tiddy. Yeah, well done, man. Got a chapter. So I've seen people do things under pressure or stress, and when you make mistakes in such situations, it can become a habit. It turns into a repeated cycle. This could be anything, even alcohol. Yeah. So Liverpool still have to gel their new signings, and Man City's thinking about their 115. So Chelsea could be the dark horses. I'm a Scouse, so I want my team, but still not silly to think too foregone. Yeah, listen, I think City get away with it with the charges. The league can't afford Man City to get charged, put it that way. I think Man City are bringing too much to the table, and I don't think the Premier League are going to risk, you know, charging Man City. So I think City get away with it, you know. Again, they're going to have the best lawyers to try and get them out of this issue, you know. So I do think Chelsea get away with it and Man City get away with it. I do think that. But who knows? We have to wait and see. So Ashutosh Singh says, do you know anything about cricket, bro? Yeah, of course I do, man. Cricket's not one of my favourite sports, you know, but what is it you want to know? I mean, you know, obviously West Indies, my team has to watch. You know, Brian Lara, Curtly Ambrose, you know, Courtney Walsh back in the day. Shiv Nareen Chanderpaul as well. Yeah, listen, I used to watch cricket back in the day, man, but not as much now. Lumi says, oh wait, who's this? Kidi Koo says, do you play Zelda? Aye, listen, that was a game. The Legend of Zelda. No one's ever asked me that before. Yeah, that was a game back in the day, man, on the Super Nintendo. I'm showing my age now, guys. But the Super Nintendo, man, Legend of Zelda. What a game that was. Big up to Kiduku. Lumi says, Gav, for me, it's first Liverpool, second Arsenal, third City, fourth United. And Lumi, listen, if you're going for Arsenal to be second again, this is why Arteta has to be sacked. Although I don't think Arsenal gets second. But as I said, man, I think Arsenal, for me, have to either win the league or win Champions League. They can't be getting second in the league again, which I don't think they'll get, or getting knocked out of the Champions League. They have to win a trophy this season. Otherwise, why have they kept Arteta to go and do what? You know? Ashutosh Singh says, Virat Kohli, what do you think about him? I've heard of Virat Kohli. To be fair, I don't really watch cricket as much no more, so I couldn't tell you about Virat Kohli, but I think he's a batsman, so I've definitely heard of him. Kiduku says, do you support Real Madrid? No, I support Man United, and my team's Barca. I used to like Real Madrid when they had R9, you know, the real Ronaldo. I used to like Real Madrid back then, Zidane as well. But yeah, my team's in Spain is Barcelona, for many reasons. So Sham says, Arsenal second, United fourth. No way. No way. City and Liverpool will be the top two for me. And I think Chelsea will be in there as well. You know. Look, Mario Kart Double Dash. Yeah, listen, that was a game. Yeah, you guys are bringing up some serious games now, man. Mario Kart Double Dash. Does anyone remember a game called Double Dragon as well? Double Dragon was a game. What else was there? Donkey Kong. What's the other one again? Is it something Beast or something like that? There were some serious games. I forgot now, man. Something Beast, I think it was called. So Kida Koo says, do you think Real Madrid can win La Liga and Champions this season? You know what? I have to say no. And again, I've spoken this before. A lot of what Real Madrid do this season is going to be dependent on how Xabi Alonso figures out the conundrum between Vinicius Jr., Kylian Mbappe, and Jude Bellingham. Because against the very best teams, if you've got all three of them playing, they're going to struggle. So, you know, something's got to be sacrificed, even though I don't think that's going to happen. But if Xabi Alonso's got anything about himself, then he's going to have to sacrifice one of them players. You know, I know they're big names for different reasons, but I just don't think when it comes to the key games, you know, against Barcelona, Atletico Madrid in the league, and then Champions League, whether they play, whether it's, you know, Barca, PSG, City, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, whoever. I think if they continue to play that three together in the bigger games, I think they're going to struggle for many reasons. So yeah, to answer your question, Kiduku, I don't think they can win it this season unless he changes his something about his team. Lumi, you got it. Alex the Kid or Golden Axe. Yeah, that's the one. Golden Axe was a game, man. Yeah, listen, these games you're coming out with, those were my kind of games, man. Don't know if you guys remember a game called Cool Spot as well, and Earthworm Jim. Listen, they were the games, man. Sega Master System, yeah. I had Super Nintendo, man. I had some serious games on there. You know, Super NES, man, yeah. But yeah, listen, Golden Axe, Alex the Kid, Cool Spot, Earthworm Jim. Yeah, listen, man. They were some serious games. Serious games. So Ashutosh says he is the third most followed athlete in the world from cricket. The rest you can guess. What, Virat Kohli? I never knew that. So I'm guessing Ronaldo's in there, and he's the third most followed athlete in the world. He's I don't know. The other two must be Cristiano Ronaldo and Floyd Mayweather must be in there. You got Floyd, LeBron James, Messi. John Jones. Let me know, Ashutosh, who's the other two. I'll let you know if I agree with that. I didn't know he was number. I didn't know Virat Kohli was the third most. You know what I mean? I didn't know that. Alexander the Kid and Double Dragon were my first two games. Say, yeah, listen, man. Double Dragon was my game, man. Double Dragon. If anyone remembers a game called Streets of Rage as well. Remember Streets of Rage? My guy was Axel. Axel and Skate. Deadly. So you had Axel, Skate, Blaze, and Max. Max was the big guy. You know, that was just, yeah, just big for nothing, really. But Axel and Skate, man, were deadly. I'm telling you. Streets of Rage. That was my game back then, man. Yeah, listen. Shams mentioned it. Streets of Rage. Yeah, listen. So, Ashtosh says, I have a suggestion for you, bro. That could be a point of life-changing thing for you randomly. Yeah, go on, man. Let me hear it. Let me hear it. So, CR7 and Messi. Okay, yeah, I thought so. Yeah, Alex the Kid, man. That was a game. What else was there? I swear there's one missing. Guys, anyone remember Earthworm Jim? Earthworm Jim was a game, man. Earthworm Jim. But the old João Pedro scored again, man. He's on smoke this season. Liam Delap, man, he's made a wrong choice going to Chelsea because João Pedro is going to be the first choice, man. And rightfully so. So he's got more than 257 million on Insta overall, even more than 350 million. What? Who's that? Virat Kohli. That's crazy, man. That is crazy. Big up to Germs Lee Fishing, says United are coming back. Well, listen, if we get Baleba over the line, then yeah, listen, I'm all for that, man. You know, and I reckon we will as well. Right, guys, come on, we've got 19 likes. Let's at least get 20 before we wrap up. So once we hit 20 likes, we're going to wrap up, man. Big up yourselves. Are we on 20, actually, Chris and Mark says, yeah? Okay. Bro, whenever I hear this process word, I don't want to hear it, man. I think of Arsenal. You know, this is why Arsenal are in the mud they're in. Because they've been using this process nonsense for too long. And this is why Arteta is not going to do nothing. Because he's the head of the process. Like, it's crazy business, man. Crazy. Crazy. Right, guys, couple of more questions and then we're going to wrap up. Big up to Daffy. I thought I said Daffy for a minute, but Daffy. Big up Daffy. So Lumi says, have you been to Dubai? No, I haven't actually. I haven't. You know, Dubai's not really been somewhere that's been on my list to go to, really. But I would like to go there, you know. I would like to go, but it's not really top of my list, to be honest. So we aren't Arsenal. United are the sleeping beast about to awake. Bro, let's hope so, man. Let's hope so because, you know, for over a decade, man, it's been pain. Since Ferguson left, you know, when Van Gaal came in, I was excited with Van Gaal because he's a top coach. But ever since Van Gaal went, this club's been in the mud. And finally, it looks like we could be on our way back. You know, the signings so far, Mbeumo Cunha. The black mark they've got against them for me, Ineos, is the Bruno Fernandes because he should have been moved on. Ugarte as well, I think he's shit. And for me, I think Sesko, as I keep saying, if Rasmus goes out the door, the Sesko signing for me is not too bad. But just get me Baleba. And as I said, I would say that, yeah, we are a sleeping beast that are awakened for sure. For sure. So Lumi says, isn't there high crime in South Africa? Yeah, there is, man. There is, from what I've heard. Never been there. I think the furthest I've been in terms of countries travel to is probably, I'm talking about when I've got older, probably Mexico. Yeah, probably that's the furthest I've been. Germs, if you're from South Africa, bro, you know about the crossroads, yeah? Yeah, listen, there's crime in every town centre. For real. Lumi, you're originally from Croydon, you said, yeah? Croydon's mad for crime. Okay. Okay. Big up to Daniela as well for coming through. Guys, come on, 19 likes I'm seeing. Let's smash the like button. So your family left Croydon for that reason. Yeah, I can imagine, man. Thornton Heath as well. I think that's near Croydon. Yeah, Thornton Heath, man. I've heard a lot about them because I watch a lot of documentaries on YouTube, you know, about the drill gangs and stuff like that. I like watching documentaries, and a lot of it's based in, you know, those kind of areas, man. Crazy. Big up, Sham. So Sham says 20 likes, Gav. Whatever you see is always +1. Okay. Didn't know that. Okay, you were near Thornton Heath. Okay. So you move so Lumi, you've moved from Croydon to go to Birmingham. Like, isn't that somewhere sort? No, you're not in Birmingham, are you? I saw you said Birmingham. Ain't that somewhere like a bit similar? South Africa got a legend. His name is AB de Villiers. Yeah, I remember him. Yeah. Again, I don't follow cricket that much. Sorry, Portsmouth you're in, sorry. Okay, I understand now. Yeah, AB de Villiers. I've heard of him, definitely. I think he was a bowler. Like, I don't really watch cricket that much no more, but the names you're coming up with, I'm definitely familiar with him. Yeah, Sham, big up, man. I forgot. You're Birmingham and Lumi's Portsmouth, yeah. Okay, I can see, man. I can see why you left there now. Big up. The nearest I've been to Birmingham is Coventry, man. Yeah, I went to Coventry. This was years ago. I know Coventry's round the corner from Birmingham. Armando Broya's gone to Burnley. And look at that, guys. You know, Chelsea have got 50 mil, I think, from Broya and Leslie Ugochukwu. And they've got another 25, 29 million coming in for Dewsbury Hall. I mean, this club just keep making sales, man. It's ridiculous. Yeah, big up to Danny, man. Danny, we're gonna wrap up in a bit anyway. But big up for coming back. Germ says, my dream is to watch United live at Old Trafford versus Liverpool. Yeah, that'd be a great game, man. Yeah, try and get yourself to come and watch it. It's going to be difficult to try and get a ticket for that, though, I believe. But so Ashutosh says, check my suggestion above. Ashutosh, put it in again, man, because I can't find it. Type it in again, because I missed it. So Chris Mark says, top 3 scorers this season. I mean, we can't bet against Mo Salah. You know, I'm not a massive fan of Salah, but again, consistently he produces the numbers. So I'm gonna say Salah, Erling Haaland. You have to put. I think it's gonna be the usual players. I think Salah, Haaland, because they're playing in teams that the team is revolved around them to get numbers. So you got to put them two in there, and then I think you're going to have to put Isak there. But what I will say, if Isak goes to Liverpool, someone's going to miss out. Someone's going to miss out. And I think you might see Salah miss out on goals. You know, it might be an unpopular opinion, but Salah might miss out on numbers if Isak was to come through, because Isak will be the main striker, you know, and again, Salah's getting older as well. You know, his legs ain't the same. So he might have to become more of the creator for Isak. So that's one to watch. But yeah, listen, João Pedro is a very good player. I think João Pedro is not an out-and-out goal scorer, but he's a great footballer, you know, and I expect him to be in the Brazil squad for the World Cup as well. So, but I'm going to say, yeah, Salah, Hall and Isak. I think you can't really bet against them guys, if I'm honest. Danny says, kids, bro, trying to sort out 3 different age groups of kids is mad. Now I chill out, but you're going. Yeah, bro, sorry. Yeah, listen, I've obviously I said to the chat, I'm going to be live for another 10 minutes, and I've gone over that. But, yeah, listen, man, family gets in the way, I understand. So, the fact that you've come back on, again, it's much appreciated. But what I'll do, I'll stay on for another 5 minutes. If you guys want to give me your questions, then, yeah, I'll stay on for another 5 minutes. I'll give you guys. Gav, how many goals does Gyökeres score? Listen, if we're being honest with you, yeah, I think Gyökeres has to get a minimum of 20 goals for Arsenal. I think if he doesn't get 20 goals, I think that could be seen as a failure. Because throughout the whole summer, we've been hearing, you know, apart from Kane and Lewandowski, who are the older guys now, he's the best striker in the world. His numbers prove it. So I think just based on that, him coming to Arsenal, I expect 20 goals minimum from Gyökeres. And if he doesn't get 20 goals, it's going to be a failure. So, yeah, I think 20. Sham's saying 15, actually 17. Sham, listen, just say it how it is, man. 20 goals he has to get. I don't care what anyone says. 20 goals. Gav, do you reckon me and you, we've played against each other in the past? Bro, you know what? Probably, man. Probably. Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's a yeah. It might have done. I'll say because I think you used to play for. Who did you say you played for again? Was it Wimbledon? I think you said you played for before. Yeah, we probably played against each other. Yeah, I'll go along and say that. Why is Watkins rumoured to be a lot of clubs? Does he want out? Yeah, I think Watkins doesn't see eye to eye with Unai Emery. But to be honest with you, Watkins ain't going anywhere. I don't think Villa have just signed Evan and Gessan from Nice. And I think they're going to want to have 2 strikers. You know, they've got that Zeppakino Redmond that they signed from Feyenoord as well, younger striker. But I think Watkins is still going to be there, man. I don't see them letting him go of them that easily. I don't believe. So Jaden says, where is Man United placing in the summer in the Prem? So I think United finish. If we get Baleba, yeah, I'm gonna say I expect a top 6 finish. And I don't think that's unrealistic. I think if you look at the likes of Euro, De Ligt, Baleba, if he comes through, Kobe, get game time, Cunha, Mbeumo, Ahmad, Dorgu, Xerxes, Sesko, you know, and obviously I don't want to mention his name, but Bruno's going to be there as well. Casemiro, of course. Listen, top 6 has to be the minimum, in my opinion, if they get Baleba. I think Baleba is a transformative signing. I don't think people realise how good this guy is and he's going to be. So, yeah, I'm going to say top 6, I think. I think the top 4 is going to be very difficult. And if United get Douglas Luiz and they get Baleba, then I would say top 4. Because United, for me, need to get 2 central midfielders, 2 actual central midfielders. And again, they got Baleba and Douglas Luiz. That'd be a great window for me. And I'd expect top 4. I don't care what anyone says. Chris Mark says, Salah, Delap and Cunha, top 3. What, top 3 goal scorers? Yeah, I don't see that. So Lumi reckons Gyökeres will get 30 in all comps. Hey, listen, Lumi, you're putting yourself under pressure there. If you're saying he gets 30 in all comps, listen, I'm not gonna disagree. So if he was to get 30, I'll be surprised in his first season. You know, I'm not saying it's not doable, but that's a big ask in the first season. But okay, guys, I'm gonna say 30 in all comps, but 20 goals in the league. I think he has to get 20 in the league, definitely. Yeah, big up Danny, man. Yeah, probably. We probably did play against each other. Havant and Waterlooville. Have you played, Danny, played against them? Yeah, I've heard of Havant and Waterlooville. So Saheem says we can challenge for top 5 with Beleba and the keeper. Guys, I think people are too a bit obsessed with the keeper talk, you know. Anana's hasn't been great, but you know, there ain't no guarantee that a keeper comes in and gets United into the top 5. You know, I think Anana has been poor, let's get it right, and can be better. But Baleba is a key signing. And as I said, if you can get a decent team, you know, Anana won't be that big of a problem, I believe. I think when you're playing a Man United team, and you know, United, as we know, they play a lot in on the counter attack. The ball's always getting turned over. Your goalkeeper is going to be under pressure. You know, if you look at when David De Gea was at Man United, the reason David De Gea was getting peppered a lot of the time, he's a very good shot stopper, but the team was incapable of keeping the ball. And what I'm trying to say to you is if Man United get a team that wants to keep the ball and can keep the ball, someone like Andre Onana won't be as much as a problem. So, again, getting Baleba is key because he's very good on the ball, but also he's tenacious in the tackle. He's press resistant, he's box to box, and he can break the lines from deep, which is key. I mean, in the first phase of play as well, the way he picks the ball up and breaks the lines, he ticks literally every box. So he's the one signing United have to make. And I believe it happens. So imagine if Manu can land on a rumour. Yeah, touched on that earlier. I don't see it happening. But again, it would be a statement signing. So Lumi says, I would actually swap Raya with Onana. I don't rate Raya that high. Yeah, I think Raya is overrated, personally. I do think he's overrated. But we all know why Onana gets the criticism he does. It's because of that. That's what it is, you know. And again, he hasn't been great, but let's just call it what it is. If he wasn't of African descent, you know, I don't believe he'd be getting as much criticism as he does. That's the honest truth. Again, I'm not saying he's been great, but I think his criticism is heightened because of this, you know. So, yeah. Do you agree with 5 teams from a league now getting Champions League football? Do I agree with 5 teams from a league getting Champions League football? But again, it's based on how the English teams do in the in Europe. So yeah, if they're performing well in Europe, then it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Yusufov says Neymar is better. I don't think no one mentioned Neymar, but there you go. But guys, big up yourselves for coming through each and every time. Obviously, we're gonna wrap it up now anyway. But as I said, guys, it's much appreciated you guys coming through, interacting with the channel as always. Again, if you're new in here, guys, make sure you smash the like button. Help the channel to grow. Just one press of the button helps the channel to be seen by more people. And again, if you haven't subbed to the channel, make sure you do. Check out my other content. And guys, as well, check out my posts as well. So I've got some good posts on there. You know, make sure you guys vote and make sure you give me your comments as well as to why. I think the latest one I've done was who's more overrated, Jude Bellingham or Bruno Fernandes. So, yeah, make sure you vote on the post, guys, and let me know in the comments why you've gone for that. And as I said, big up yourselves for coming through each and every time. And on your way out, guys, make sure you smash the like button. And again, as always, sub to the channel. So, yeah, Lumi, I've got a poll coming out tomorrow. Probably scheduled to come out tomorrow about 10 o'clock. So, yeah, keep an eye on that one as well. So, I'll be doing a poll a day, guys. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. And as I said, Each and every time, guys, it's much appreciated, you guys coming through. So, but yeah, I should be back possibly later tomorrow. So yeah, keep an eye on my schedule as always, and keep an eye on and well, make sure you put your notifications on, should I say. But yeah, as I said, big up yourselves each and every time. Big up to all the mods. And I'm going to catch you guys tomorrow. Take it easy.